Beyond the Hype, a fashion lifestyle tech podcast. Presented by Stephanie Williams and Greg Lewis.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. So, Web3 gaming, it's generating a ton of buzz, but we're here to see if it's actually living up to the hype. We've got new reports and data, and, well, let's just say it's way more interesting than just reading headlines.
Right. It's really interesting to see this corner of digital assets finding its footing, especially while other parts are, well, kind of shaky right now.
Yeah, for sure. One report from Binance said Web3 game development grew more than 8% in Q2 this year. That's a lot of new games, especially when other areas are slowing down. What do you think is driving that kind of growth?
Well, I think we're finally moving past the initial hype and starting to see the real potential. It's becoming less about speculation and more about, how can blockchain tech actually work in games in practical ways?
So it's becoming kind of an experimental ground for blockchain, but what does that actually look like?
Okay, so imagine playing a game, right? And you get this really rare sword. Usually that's just data on their server. But what if it was an NFT? Like you actually owned it. You could sell it, trade it, or even use it in other games.
Wow, that completely changes things.
Yeah, it's not just playing a game anymore. And it's attracting developers who want to build new things and players who want more rewarding experiences.
Definitely. And it seems like some big names are already here. This report shows BNB Chain, Ethereum, Polygon Labs are all making big moves.
Yeah, they are. But we're also seeing a lot more diversity than that. Linux-based games are growing too, which is a good sign it's not just a closed system.
For sure, it's good to see that kind of expansion. But speaking of wild rides, how are NFTs looking in all of this? We keep hearing the market's cooling down.
There's definitely a difference there. Yeah, NFT sales in general are down, but gaming NFTs are a different story. It goes back to what we were talking about before, utility.
Right, it's not just buying a JPEG, you're buying something you can actually use.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Think about games like Axie Infinity, Gods Unchained, Splinterlands. They're not just about collecting, they offer completely different experiences.
And it seems like those experiences are starting to move past just play to earn too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's evolving way beyond that. It's really about changing how we think about players, developers, and games in general. Imagine if doing well in a game actually had real-world value, or even if you could help make a game and share in the success.
Wow, that would change a lot.
Right. And all of this shift to utility and sustainable models, it's bringing in serious money.
I bet. One report said there was $2.7 billion in venture capital funding for crypto in Q2, and a lot of that's going towards gaming.
Yeah, and that tells you something. Investors see a future in Web3 gaming. It's not just about what's hot right now, it's about what could completely change how we think about playing or even earning.
It's like they're putting their money where their mouth is. But are we going to see some rules with all this growth? Regulation's a big topic in Web3.
Oh, definitely. And it's important, especially in such a fast-changing space. We need to protect everyone, developers and players, to make sure this lasts.
Makes sense, finding that balance between letting things grow and making sure nobody's getting tricked.
Exactly. It's like you need a good foundation before you build a house.
Right. Got to make sure the foundation's strong. So big picture, what are the biggest takeaways for you from all this?
Well, to me, it's clear Web3 gaming is more than just hype. It's changing how we think about games, ownership, even community online. It's pretty big.
We've talked numbers, tech, investments, but what about someone who just likes playing games? What does this all actually mean?
It means the way we play is going to be different. Imagine, what if you could turn your creativity in a game into something valuable in the real world? Or your skills meant you could make a living playing. Sounds crazy.
Kinda does, but I guess Web3 is making those things seem more possible.
Exactly, and that's what makes this so interesting. It's not just the tech itself, it's how it changes how we think about games, digital stuff, each other even.
Makes you think about Game Changer a little differently, huh?
For sure.
Well, this has been awesome. Thanks for the deep dive with me.
Anytime, always a good time.
Beyond the Hype, a fashion lifestyle tech podcast.